In the galaxy of American comedy, Steve Martin is the precision instrument. Less jam session, more master clockmaker. He develops bits like blueprints, calibrates pauses like gears, and treats scene partners and crews with near-sacred respect. As one longtime collaborator put it, Steve doesn't just tell jokes, he engineers them. That craftsmanship has made him endure for decades, actor, writer, musician. Yet, it's also put him at odds with performers who thrive on chaos, ego, or improvisation that bulldozes the room. Publicly, he's famously gracious. Privately, colleagues say he keeps a mental dossier. If you derailed the work or disrespected people, you don't get a second orbit. Below were 9 entertainers who, according to industry chatter and eyewitness accounts, reportedly landed on the wrong side of Martin's personal code. None of this is courtroom testimony, just the stories that circulate in green rooms, edit bays, and after-hours calls from people who've watched him work with almost architectural care. What should have been a dream trio reportedly became a study in opposites. Crew members recall Martin arriving line-perfect, ready to build scenes as written. Chevy Chase, by contrast, allegedly treated the script as a suggestion, pitching, and sometimes demanding rewrites that gave him the sparkle while dimming the ensemble. The deeper rub, sources say, wasn't just punch-up. It was attitude toward the crew. Martin is rigid about courtesy. Seeing anyone dismissed or steamrolled reportedly hit a nerve. After a day of requests that re-entered the spotlight, he was overheard telling director John Landis, "If ego were money, Chevy could buy Wall Street." Both men smiled through the press tour, but Martin never paired with Chase again. A producer recalls him describing Chase as a comedy genius with nothing behind the eyes. From someone as even-keeled as Steve, that's a thunderclap. When Jim Carrey goes long, he goes, "At one ceremony in the mid-1990s, Carr's free-form overtime acceptance spiraled into pure chaos." Scheduled to present next, Martin tried to land the plane with a handmade wrap-it-up sign meant, colleagues say, as gentle clock management. Carrey reportedly took it as a jab. The air chilled. Martin's verdict. Per a colleague who has worked with both, like doing calculus in a blender. He admired Carr's talent. The problem was oxygen. Carr's presence could suck it all out of a room. Martin sees comedy as a duet with listening as vital as lines. Carrey and Steve's view turned every moment into a solo. Projects that could have matched them never happened by choice. At a fundraiser they co-hosted, insiders say Bette Middler suddenly launched into an unscheduled musical number, scrambling pacing and tone of a show Martin had painstakingly mapped with writers. He wasn't angry about singing. He was rattled by unilateral choices at a charity event designed to serve the cause, not egos. One organizer says Martin left early, donating generously and sending a note that read, "Tell Bette it came from her biggest fan." Silence. He remained polite in public, but as with others on this list, never teamed up again. To Steve, this was performative generosity masking self-promotion, precisely the opposite of collaboration. On a tightly produced appearance, Bill Murray reportedly showed up late, waved off rehearsal, and then mocked beats on air, throwing the timing of Martin's carefully built piece into the shredder. Steve revered the work the audience doesn't see. Drafts, beats, and the rhythm crews build. To watch someone grenade that, he felt was not spontaneity. It was sabotage. For years afterward, colleagues say he refused calls or bookings that would put them shoulder to shoulder. His private line on Murray, brilliant but destructive. This wasn't personal. If anything, it was tragic. Robin Williams was an aurora borealis of ideas. Martin is a Frank Lloyd Wright of timing. In one joint segment, Williams started riffing at warp speed, lovingly but relentlessly smashing through the scaffolding of Martin's prepared material. A writer present said it was like reading poetry on a roller coaster. Martin respected the genius. He just couldn't integrate it. He turned down pairings that would have put them in the same ring. As one director summed up, it's architecture versus jazz. Both beautiful.
Wrong bandstand.
Set veterans say Goldie Hawn floated in late more than once, triggering expensive ripple effects on her production. Martin ran like a Swiss watch. She also loved to improvise mid-scene, which left Steve, who treats dialogue like sheet music, constantly recalibrating his tempo. The sorest spot, according to a colleague close to Steve, was a moment when Horn allegedly mocked his banjo playing, a craft he treats as high art. He finished the film with maximum professionalism and minimum friction, did the junket with his usual warmth and declined future pairings. Martin watched from the wings as Charles Grodin did his notorious faux hostile talk show persona needling Johnny Carson, derailing rhythms and wringing laughs from genuine discomfort. Viewers at home howled from backstage. Steve saw real people trying to steer a ship while an invited guest poked holes in the hull. He later called it weaponized awkwardness, colleagues say. Steve has no beef with crafted deadpan. His line is simple. Everyone on stage should know the bit. If the host isn't a consenting partner, it stops being comedy and starts being cruelty. At one event, Don Rickles reportedly went past the standard roast sting and straight for Martin's fresh wounds. Divorce, money, exactly the places comics normally circle, but don't strike. Steve smiled through it, he always does, but privately drew a hard boundary. Humor should spring from empathy, not open injuries. He never trashed Rickles publicly. He simply stopped accepting pairings that would repeat the dynamic. As a writer who knows Steve put it, he felt sometimes in Rickles' world, cruelty was the joke. That's a philosophy Martin simply doesn't share. Burt Reynolds loved a live wire bit. Shaving cream ambushes, water guns, anything to light the room. Great TV. Terrible if you've built a 6-minute story with beats and tags. More than once, Martin's planned segments reportedly evaporated under Reynolds' escalating pranks. Steve's private quip per a talent coordinator. A 12-year-old with a death wish. Fun until it wasn't. He asked bookers not to seat them together again. Not a feud. Just floodgates closed. If there's a through line, it's craft and courtesy. You can be anarchic, improvisational, even volcanic. Martin has worked beautifully with Wild Hearts. So long as the work and the people are respected, he'll forgive almost anything except heedless ego that wastes others' time, hijacks their moments, or treats real discomfort as a shortcut to laughs. Martin builds comedy like a cathedral, brick by brick, beam by beam, with room for joy and precision. Cross the safety lines and he won't scold you in public. He'll simply never build with you.